clients will remember more how they felt the project went than what the outcome of the project is. Like if the it doesn't matter if the project turned out like super sick, but it was like slightly chaotic the whole time, they're probably not gonna want to like do that again.
Yeah.
Where like if they felt very heard and very like, oh, that was smooth, they're probably gonna like the outcome.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jonathan from Autodesk. Welcome to Shop Talk, the podcast series where we talk to makers, inventors, engineers, and designers from shop to shop. Today, I got Keqing with me. What are we doing today?
Hey, Jonathan, we are talking to Tyler and Brian. They are the co-founders and founder of Render Weekly. They both come from an industrial design background. It's going to be a really fun conversation. Let's get into it.
Render Weekly here today. How's it going, guys?
Great.
Going real good. Nice to be
Thanks
here
for
with you
coming.
guys.
Yeah, we're stoked.
Can you tell our audience about Render Weekly?
Yeah. So Render Weekly is like we frame it as a virtual studio. We've been running it for 8 years. We started it when we were both in school, but it really started from just a love of rendering and a love of practicing design. Each week, once upon a time, it was each week. Now it's about once a month. We post a prompt to renderweekly.com, usually on Mondays. And then we invite other designers to participate in the prompt alongside us. And that's really the ethos of it is it's our practice and your practice.
Before Render Weekly existed, what were your lives back then? What did you guys do and like how what yeah, tell us a bit about that origin story.
Oh man. So we went to school at BYU in Provo, Utah, studying industrial design. That's how we met. We met in like our first year of design classes. Uh, my life was a poor student. Well, yeah, learning design. And then anyways, we got into the industrial design program. Um, well, how much backstory do we go into here? How
Up to
long?
you.
Up to you.
Up to you. Yeah.
I give them the cliff notes, I guess.
I can give him like a little frame of reference is
Yeah.
riding bikes to school.
Okay. Yeah.
Tyler and I it's funny, we met in like our freshman year courses and
Mhm.
which is like, your introduction to design and 2D, 3D. And
Mm.
yeah, we were pretty much like all consumed with those courses and like really trying to like create a portfolio to get into the professional program together. And so we were, learning from scratch, like how to draw, how to use markers and
Cut foam.
yeah, cut
Yeah.
Oh
foam.
yeah.
We were like, Todd and I kind of gravitated together because we shared a lot of same skills. We'd be stoked on each other's like concepts and then get ripped apart by the professors later. But
And yeah, and I so we did our first year and then you apply into the industrial design program. Uh you apply to the first year and then you apply to the second year. Uh Ryan was like a ringer through the whole first year. And I had a pretty solid portfolio too, but when I came to photograph all of my images, I did that late and then dropped my portfolio in the snow on the way to turning it in. And it was a big lesson in presentation quality. Ryan got into the program second year, and I did not get into the program second year. I was like, dude, I am determined to be an industrial designer. At that point, like the hook was in me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get into the second year. I took a gap year and was able to do an internship. At that point, had enough design skill set and was able to leverage. My uncle knew a guy who worked for a company that had a design team, and like, I mean, that got me like a foot in the door. I went and did some graphic design internship, but there was an industrial designer there who knew Keyshot, and I sat next to him, and he was like, rendering in like Keyshot 7 and Keyshot 6. It was like really early Keyshot, or not really early, but anyway, I remember do the internship, come back to school, reapply to the program, got into the program. And I'm like, guys, you gotta see this thing. It's called Keyshot.
yeah.
We're not sponsored by them for
Yeah.
this podcast, but I remember being like, dude, this is so cool. And I was hooked and then showed Ryan. Like, Ryan, you got to learn this thing called Keyshot.
Yeah. I remember I actually got this first gig from somebody. It was like in the entrepreneurship school, and we're always like brushing shoulders with like our professors were trying to like get us to do projects that are like outside of class. And somebody had this idea of like this jewelry, and
Mm,
there were like a bunch of bracelets that were like different metals and stuff. And I was like, didn't really know anything about rendering, but I needed money. And so I was like, I'll do it. And it was like a late night in the studio, in the student studio, using like the school's computers to like CAD up the sketches and do some renderings. And
yeah.
Tyler was in there. And yeah, that's kind of really how like our worlds came together, was like working next to each other and like being able to ask questions and help each other like learn software and like kind of help like becoming designers together.
Yeah. That's
Pretty
beautiful.
fun.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
and kind of like following up on that, in those early days, uh, what was something that was frustrating you about industrial design or about the industry in general? Like, yeah, anything that you can think of,
I mean, I
share?
guess there were some like frustrations, like there's like frustrations of like how hard it is to like pick up skills.
Mm,
But then like another like more industrial designers, like the biggest struggle for any industrial designer is like the how to solve for the problems in sustainability, like am I just contributing to waste, like having these existential crisis about being like the makers of trash. It's like that was
ah,
always
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
something we were presented with through like other courses that we took. Like there was stuff that as we were learning about material and design and the life, how long products live, like we were always kind of like subconsciously kind of like guilty. But then you kind of learn like, okay, this doesn't have to be exactly the way that we go about designing. Like we can incorporate new things, new ways. But
We
yeah,
we we also like I remember so as we were learning Keyshot and like learning our CAD skills, just learning all the hard skills of industrial design. We There was a account called Weekly Design Challenge back then, and I think they've shut down now, but they were like a sketching prompt account. And then
Mm,
there was also a couple guys, Super Inspo, Creative Session, uh, and they had done like a really cool prompt around this watch. There was like this Alessi watch that the straps would always break off of, and
like an inhaler.
yeah, yeah, and they did this prompt around, hey, if you have one of these watches, like design a little mount for it because the
Yeah.
the straps always break, and people were submitting all these like cool like mounts for the Alessi watch, and they did like post it on Instagram and tag it with like hashtag, you know, something with creative session, and we were
Yeah.
yeah.
like, that's so cool. And then there was weekly design challenge doing these sketch prompts, but we were learning rendering, and
Hmm.
Ryan was like, uh.
We were
Make
getting burritos or something. And
Yeah, you made they did a scooter prompt. I remember it.
oh yeah, yeah,
They did a scooter prompt, and Ryan made this like sick rendered scooter, and he posted it, and they wouldn't feature it because it's a render, not a sketch, and they were only sketching. And
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
I remember
Oh yeah.
we were like, should we start our own?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was like a
Yeah,
thing. It was like there was kind of like that like gap when I remember like wanting to do the challenge, but kind of like I don't know, stand out, I guess.
yeah. And neither of us. I mean, you're a strong sketcher. I can sketch, but I'm not like I would not consider myself a strong sketcher. I can sketch to show the form, but
yeah,
we were both strong renderers. And so we were like, dude, let's try starting our own. It'll be, what do
yeah.
we call it? I
Yeah.
think for like first idea was like render weekly. That
Yeah.
sticks. That sounds good.
Yeah. It was
So that
like
was
kind of
that was the beginning of
First
Yeah.
try. It sounds to me like kind of a continuation of the student studio that experience, right? Like when you're in design school, you spend all of your time in the studio with other students doing the same thing.
Hmm.
and you're all kind of in competition with each other, but at the same time you're learning from each other. These are your friends, and you're sort of sharpening your skills through seeing what everybody else is doing and then trying to do your own take on that. Would you say is that accurate? Is that kind of where this went?
Pretty,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was like, as we were like really getting excited and like seeing the potential of like taking a design that we were CADing and like being able to make it look real, that was like really grabbing. And we kind of ran with that, and we were, I don't know, there were so many applications besides even just Render Weekly that it was like useful for, but it was also kind of like a double-edged sword in the sense of like getting into the like working rendering into your design flow too quickly, can be kind of hindering. Like wanting to get to like that final refined design is like really enticing, and like, I don't know. I guess I've leaned into that a lot.
And
Mostly. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like uh as far as the studio element of it, I think like working, getting to just like have that creative energy within a space, and I feel like one of the things you go to school for is just some guidance on like where to go, right? Even just having a prompt
Hmm.
that is,
Yeah.
you can sit down at your computer. One of the big things with Render Weekly that we try to do with the prompts is like when you see it, you have that aha moment with the idea, right? Like some of our most successful prompts are ones where we're providing a CAD download. Like one of our best ones from this last season was the utility blade.
Hmm.
And we like downloaded, or not downloaded, we CAD'ed a utility blade, like Stanley utility blade, and it just posted it on our website and said like, download our step file
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
like design around it. And
Hmm.
that's like the kind of prompt where you're like scrolling through your Instagram feed or you're scrolling, you're, on, and you see the blade, you're like, oh, dude, I have an idea for that,
Hmm.
and those kinds of prompts versus like we do prompts sometimes that are a little bit more abstract. Like I think our follow-up to that one was 3D pattern.
Hmm.
And that one's like, oh, I gotta solve this 3D pattern. Like the idea doesn't come into your brain
Hmm.
immediately.
Yeah.
And so I think having those kinds of prompts where you're like, oh, I know that. Like it gets the gears turning. Those are the kinds of things where we see a
Hmm.
lot of like studio engagement and everyone kind of like you see someone else's submission and you're like, oh, that's so cool. That gives me an idea. And like, what if it was like this? And I feel like that's that studio environment that you want in school, but we're kind of cultivating it on the internet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the way that I see that is like the 3D pattern or the 3D uh yeah, pattern example is more exploratory
Hmm.
versus the utility blade. You're actually solving a problem, right? You're
Hmm.
Yeah.
solving for how it's being used in the real world. So, and I guess like both have its merits, right? Both I think
Yeah.
are important to have, but that's probably why you're getting more people submitting ideas for the one that's like tangible, more real world, which is cool to see.
Yeah. And I think
When
Tyler and I like
yeah,
lean more towards like you can go so many directions with industrial design, but like
yeah,
Tyler and I were always like form givers. Like we
Hmm.
liked kind of like encasing the concept like with a nice form, and like we have like massive collections of imagery of like just like
yeah,
silhouetted objects, we collect a lot of stuff, and it's kind of like become hand in hand with like being able to visualize that and see it come together. And so like the way we work together and working in our professional career too is like we love those like form giving opportunities where this is something that's like true just industrial design, and we do also like, and we've been getting more into like the artistic side and like
yeah.
understanding how to like really embellish like some photography elements over a form, and getting like a nice like kind of atmosphere or a mood going with like imagery and stuff like that. So
Okay, so
um,
speaking of form here, what are I'm curious of what you two think, and because I hear this all the time, like, do you, what is better in industrial design, form over function or function over form?
Functions first.
yeah,
Like,
if you want it to like
yeah.
actually be something that everybody uses, it's it's got to be usable.
Nothing sucks worse than like being really excited to use a product and
Yeah.
then you actually use it and it kind of sucks. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
the opposite is so much better when you like if you're like not impressed or you're like about to use something and you know it's maybe not the most sexy design but like you start using it and you're like this thing
Yeah.
rocks. That's like such a wonderful experience.
I think the only way you can reverse it is if you like are already prolific. Like, what's his name? I'm forgetting the orange juicer that looks like a spider, kind of.
Oh
What's his
yeah.
name? Stark.
Stark,
Stark.
Phillips
Phillips
Stark.
Stark. Yeah.
You know, like that was presented as like a usable object, but really it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Hmm.
sculptural.
Yeah.
And it's funny to think that anyone would actually use that for juicing an orange, you know.
Yeah.
But a prolific design, and also like in that case, it does kind of blend. But mostly in what we do every day, it is important that like clients and those that are going to use the things that we're designing, like
Yeah.
they first have to like assign like where the function is, and the function usually gives a really cool form too. And you know, there's certain things you can embellish around that.
Now that CAD is so accessible and the rendering tools are so good, um, I'm sure sketching is kind of not as widely used as it once was, because there was a time where all you could really do was a marker rendering and then like maybe photograph a model or something like that. So, you know, now it's a more rarefied skill, I think. But, um, you know, something I learned, I went to architecture school and then I worked in film after that. And something I found was that when you show someone a rendering, they think that's the thing. So it could be
Right.
a concept, right? Like I could have 10 different options here. But when they would see a rendering, they think, oh, well, this is what the set is going to be. Like this is what
Mhm.
this
This
prop
is
is going to be or
the
whatever.
final
Mhm.
There's
result,
a
right?
sense
Yeah.
that it's finalized exactly. So like I'm just kind of wondering how sketching fits into it. Like where does rendering sit now in that process of presentation to a client or communicating something to a customer? You know, have you seen that change just in the last 10 years or so?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I think within the last 10 years, my career is 10 years long. So I'm like, yeah, you know, but I mean, even in that 10 years, yeah, I've seen, you know, I think I was talking to Tim Zarkey about this the other day. I think one of the really interesting things where industrial design and 3D are different is industrial design is all of the tools are a means to an end and helping you to just control a conversation, right? Like um the sketch is really important, but the fidelity of the sketch is really important because it opens different doors and different avenues for critique, right? Like you mentioned with a render. And so I think as a designer, it's really important to understand one how in how educated your client or your person is on um, kind of receiving and like interpreting a design because I can show Ryan a complete render and he can see right through it. He can like see like you know like he can abstract the parts that are maybe a little bit harder, but I can't show someone who's not like
Savvy and
yeah,
yeah.
fluid in the visual language of rendering and expect the same kind of feedback. So it's
Mhm.
really important to be aware of like who you're presenting to and then
Mm.
control
Yeah.
the visual conversation with what you're showing them.
And we still do use like thumbnail sketches, you know, quick sketches that if we are getting into like a true industrial design project, like you do want to start simple
Hmm.
and getting some thoughts out quickly.
Hmm.
And drawing is still like the best way to really just like get a bunch of things down, you know, take a photo of it, put it on a digital whiteboard, and then work from there, you know. And I think it's nice to have those initial gut reactions to an idea are super vital to the process. And so yeah, sketching is like even for doing quick ideas, you know, when we do render weekly, we will come up with the idea and like even like design it in our minds and go right into a CAD and just go straight to visualization. But some of the more fun things we've done is like taking an hour and like drawing and sketching together and like sharing like little, notes before we even get into it. And it really does help your brain like it helps the designer wrap their mind around it, but also presenting lower fidelity work at the beginning really does help like,
Mhm.
the stakeholder or the viewer, whoever the client, understand that like, okay, this is where we're at, a lot can change, but this is kind of what we're thinking now. And renderings
Yeah.
can give that like renderings really, if you do go straight to that,
Dude.
we've run into a lot of
Everyone starts critiquing the color.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
sometimes
It's the
sometimes you realize like, oh, we're back now, we got to backpedal. And
Yeah.
you never really want to you don't want to backpedal in the process, but
Yeah.
it happens
People
sometimes.
are like, I don't really like the shininess of that surface. You're
Yeah,
like, dude, it's not even about that right now.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Or the logo, right? Isn't there a
Or
count
like they
like
Yeah.
look at a clay,
make the
they're like
logo bigger?
looking at
Can you make the
they're
logo
like
bigger?
That
Yeah.
was
yes,
or like they'll
exactly.
look at like a clay rendering, which is like you don't put any material on anything. They're like, well, isn't it supposed to be red or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, you
yeah,
really gotta,
the
yeah,
that's it's a really important thing I think for young people to understand is like you have to know how to talk to a client in a way that's respectful to them and makes them feel heard. And like, that's a really good tip. You start out with like, something that looks like I am working with you to figure this out. I don't have like the render comes later, right? I'm starting out with sketches and kind of getting this through. I was in a meeting one time with, this is an internship, my first internship in architecture. Michael Rotundi, who's like a big architect in LA. I was like, I couldn't believe I landed this, right? And
Awesome.
I worked on I did all the 3D modeling for the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum next to the Chinese Theater in Hollywood.
Nice.
And so I did this rendering, right? And we were in a meeting with the city. It wasn't city council. It was like the like the HOA, a neighborhood association or whatever. Which like they have like all the power in LA. It's crazy. So we're in this meeting, go through the whole thing. Everybody loves it. They're looking at the rendering. It's all cool. And there's this like sign that comes out of the front of the building that's like 20 feet up in the air, and it's this forced perspective, right? And there's this old lady, and she's totally silent throughout the whole thing. And then we get to the end of the meeting where they're about to like stamp this so we can actually build the thing. And she goes, "Somebody's gonna poke their eye out on that thing." Because it looked like it was like a square, but it looked like it was kind of like sharp, I guess. And
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
and I was this close to saying, "Oh no, man, that's like 20 feet up in the air. You don't really need to worry about that." And my boss cuts me off and says, "You know what? You're right. We will work on that. We'll make sure that's safe." And then she's like, "Yep." And I talked to
Nice.
him later, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, so that's you have to do that, right? Like when you're communicating to a client, it's you always have to keep them in mind. Make sure they feel like they're heard. It kind of doesn't matter if the comment is something that's kind of inconsequential. If it's like they don't like the surface finish or whatever it is, it's you gotta take it all seriously, right?
Yeah. And I think that's like, that is truly such a masterful soft skill that like the most, the best designers are, yeah, maybe the ones who can like do the sickest surfacing or do, but like really it's like controlling the design conversation and like
Mm.
it is an art form and a dance
Yeah.
to just make the client feel like what they came to you to achieve is being achieved the way they want it to be, right? That's
Yeah.
ultimately the business of design. That's the most important part.
Yeah, and an important thing to remember, I think, is that it's like you said earlier, they don't have this skill, right? Like they can't look at
Yeah.
this rendering or whatever it is and pick it apart in their head like they're an industrial designer. They're not. They don't have that skill. So
Right.
it's super important to understand like what does this comment mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah, she says that she doesn't like this. It looks too shiny or too rough or whatever it is. But it's like what's she really driving at here? And like yeah, even I don't know. It's advice for young people. You're the expert in this stuff, but like you really have to try to understand where the client's coming from and have total respect for them. And if you can do that, I mean, you're gonna do well in the design world. It really is the difference between like a successful career and just not being able to get clients.
Clients will remember more how they felt the project went than what the outcome of the project is, like if the it doesn't matter if the project turned out like super sick, but it was like slightly chaotic the whole time, they're probably not gonna want to like do that again.
Yeah.
Where like if they felt very heard and very like, oh, that was smooth, they're
Hmm.
probably gonna like the outcome, even if it could have been technically cooler or technically better. It's the experience of being a client that they're really buying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've got a I've got a technology question slash kind of addressing the elephant in the room, which is AI. How do you guys navigate that in your
Yeah.
day to day?
Yeah, I think right now the state of AI and like how it integrates with our type of work, which is like we were talking about earlier, like giving form and
Mm,
giving sort of this direction and vibe to the to a product. It's really it's become a great tool, kind of in these beginning stages of design, but if you've tried to use AI in any capacity, even like doing a search or anything like that, if you're trying to get a result, like you really have to be wordy and you have to have a
yeah,
really large vocabulary for it to be able to understand what you're actually getting at, because it's not ever really going to be able to make exactly what you're trying to do.
yeah,
And so for us, we kind of are sitting on a line where we do have like a certain capacity of which we're then kind of we've gotten what we needed from this, but we're still needing to apply like our fundamental like skill
yeah,
sets in order to get this thing working. I think there are certain creative fields right now that feel like they're in danger in terms of like, when you're doing working on just an image, you just need an image of something, or you even need like logos, stuff like that. Like even then though, it's still not quite fully baked to be this like third studio member, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
where we have like now we have this intern that's educated fully in design and can do all the work for us. Like and nor do we even really want it. I don't think technology should get to that point, because there always needs to be like a human factor on something, like
100%. Yeah,
the
yeah,
consideration of how something should work and how it should look. It really, human to human is really where we find that like the product needs to stay.
And I think we're seeing value like people are as a culture, humans as a culture are assigning value to things that are made by other humans. Like
Of
we're
course.
seeing that as a cultural shift, right?
Yep.
And so I think AI tools are great, especially like, dude, zoomed out, not just image making, but like writing proposals for
Yep.
projects.
Yeah.
It's so much easier now. Like obviously we're not like proposal, go. But
right, right, right.
you can like record a transcript of a meeting and then
Yeah,
like it gives you main notes
Minutes.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like hey and then another thing is, we might talk for 2 hours about how to structure a project.
Yeah.
We're like,
Going
I
up and down and back.
how many
yeah,
phases should we have? I think, how are we going to do this? And we can just record that now instead of having to like, oh, well, like we can be a little bit more candid in in
yeah.
our reactions, and it's almost like we have a scribe. And so and then when you're doing research, like data analysis and
Mhm.
crafting insights, it's like obviously you don't want the AI doing it all, but it's such a strong supplement to like the
Mhm. It's been
IP.
helpful. It's been
Yeah,
helpful for a lot of things that like allow us to focus on design.
yeah,
And so I'd say I'd give it a thumbs up where it's at right now.
yeah.
Let's get back to Render Weekly.
Yeah,
And what I wanted to ask is, you guys are hosting your first inaugural award. Is that something that you guys want to talk about?
ab-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah.
let's hear about that. What does that entail?
Yeah.
RWA. Yeah.
Yeah, Render Weekly Awards. So we've been running Render Weekly for 8 years. And originally, for the first 6 or 7 years, it just lived on Instagram. We had a website that like hosted downloads and stuff, but all of the content that people were submitting was just like pretty
Yeah,
organically Instagram. In the last year, we've built out a web submission portal and made it a little bit easier to like search in the archive of Render Weekly. one of our pain points, and one of the things that was just kind of a shame is like all that awesome work that people are doing is a little bit fleeting, right? There's
Yeah.
barely any organization of it. And so now that we have this website, we're now able to like archive this work and categorize this work. And
There's been so much amazing work.
oh, yeah, it's so cool. Like check renderweekly.com, check out the archive. But kind of the natural build on that is to start like formally recognizing what the
Hmm.
best work is.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
it's something that's kind of a shame about this, specifically product visualization, right? Like it's this marriage of industrial design and 3D art, and like it is its own art form almost in a way. Like it's a very niche piece of 3D, but like there is a there is a beauty in industrial design rendering, and no one's really recognizing it as its own form. And
Hmm.
so we're trying to like, hey, this is a really cool space. It's a really cool area of design. What are the best works being done in it? So we're awarding the submissions of our Render Weekly season, kind of like what we always do. But then we're also going to be awarding just the best work that's come out over the last year, the best case studies, who's doing really top tier product visualization. We've made custom
Oh, nice. Yeah.
aluminum trophies. They're
Cool.
anodized with like a polished face. So
Yeah.
we'll be awarding trophies custom from the sample studio Render Weekly team.
Mhm.
Sick.
Um,
Yeah, we're expecting a good turnout. Like it's,
yeah.
just to give context, like on any given prompt, like no collaborator, just us kind of Tyler and I just on a Monday posting out an idea. Like some of our good prompts, we're getting like 200, sometimes up to 300 submissions, fully like people working on their own time, like just wanting to practice and or get featured, and that's been another part of this thing is like we've we've tried our best to always kind of sift through and like critique work that comes through. And it's great seeing work all over, it's all over the spectrum. People that are just kind of getting into their career, people that have been in their career for a long time. And that's something that Render Weekly is like we've always like had an open door about is like come get involved,
Yeah.
and by the way, like here's some outstanding work, and we feature those. Render Weekly Awards is really about like taking it to the next level and creating somewhat of like a podium that is we want it to stand out and kind of really be part of this whole community of design and industrial design. And we do think that there's a lot of individuals who deserve credit for the work they've put in. And we're lucky to have like an audience that has come. Everybody's come from all over.
Yeah.
Like one of
Yeah.
our biggest
Global.
demographics is like India is like blowing up with
Yeah.
industrial design and getting really good for like
Mhm.
finding great talented work and designers there, and
Korea's got
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
designers. Germany has amazing designers. Like it's like this the Render Weekly audience is like extremely global. It's pretty cool.
That's great.
And the people participating, it's amazing to see all the perspectives.
We're gonna wrap up, but before we end, we're gonna have this rapid rapid fire lightning round of questions. Okay. So these
You
are
want to
these are
start and we'll alternate, Kaching? Is that the
sure,
idea?
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll
Yeah. So
alternate questions.
imagine like, we're just having fun over beers, and keep it loose. So I guess the first question,
Water.
nice, yes. And this is for both Tyler and Ryan, right? Okay. So first question is what's the most overrated industry trend right now?
Like you're seeing a lot of like transparent plastic,
Ah,
which is I don't want to say it's overrated because it's so nostalgic and so amazing, but I
for
think
us. Yeah.
everybody wants it now on their product, and it's like, your product's not cool enough inside, to
Fair.
make it clear,
Yeah.
This
like
one
you
really
have
hits
one
home
little,
because the last product that I designed for the factory experience is clear. Yeah,
yeah,
so I
But it's
hope it's
got
up to
stuff in
snuff.
it.
That
I
looks
mean,
cool.
yeah, it's got stuff in it.
yeah.
Okay, what's the most underrated trend? Something
Mm.
people are ignoring.
or hasn't gotten enough hype?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Minimalism. I was just minimalism. No, I was kidding.
dude. Honestly, organic, like generative form
Oh,
is, I think, so cool. And sub D modeling, I think, has massive potential. Like um, industrial design has been so constrained by our tool set. Now we're getting these awesome. Like, I don't think it has to be complex, but I do
yeah.
think there's like beautiful, simple, organic form that can be continued to. I think that's some of the coolest work right now.
Next question. Okay, so one hill you'll die on in CG.
What is one hill that you'll die on? Just a render on with a black background and
Mm,
like a with a standard lighting setup. Like you could look at Render Weekly, our work, like most of our posts, like we do default to like a certain style because we don't need anything else to really show up other than what the prompt is. And we've kind of created like a little like signature like with that style. And we used to do it again like just a product on the ground, with a drop shadow,
mm,
um, just simple often is better.
yeah.
And yeah.
Good light, a couple good lights, some nice micro fillets. You can make a cylinder look so hot.
Yeah.
Like it's simple. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something like about Render Weekly. Like we're a lot of people like to embellish like the things around the product in their imagery, but really like we are, and this may be something that we can kind of like give away as like our secret, but like we really are looking at the product. Like we're looking
Mm.
at how it's been thought through and without too much distraction.
Okay, what's one tool you'd ban forever?
Oh my God.
One tool banned forever.
Oh, God.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Um, I don't know. We're pretty open.
I don't know if I have any hard prejudices against any particular tools.
Oh, okay. This is kind of a funny one, but it's
Or
like
you like roll your eyes on, let's say,
Tyler
if
and
not
this
ban.
doesn't
All
really have to
right.
do with rendering. This is my answer, but it doesn't do with rendering. But Tyler and I were actually doing construction physically, like screwing stuff together, and we're like, the Phillips screwdriver is the worst design of all time.
Amen, dude. It's the most common screw, at least in the US, and it is the worst.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah, no. Square drive, Robertson
Bro,
screw,
square
like
drive for life.
square drive is where it's at. And they actually look good too. Like you don't feel like a total, troglodyte leaving an exposed screw if it's a square drive screw, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll never strip out, right? And that's what they say. Ironically, we're about to drop like a little mini prompt soon, and we're
Yeah. We're doing a
around
Phillips because the Phillips head is iconic. It
Yeah.
looks, it's a like great little logo right on the top of the freaking screw.
Yeah. I like a star bit or like a
Works.
yeah, like a
Torx is good. Yeah. Those all work.
A fun
I've never
fact about
stripped
that.
any one of those.
A fun fact about the Phillips screw head is actually originally designed to strip to not over tighten. So
Oh,
that is why you strip it all the time.
Yeah. I think it was invented by Ford, right? I think that was the thing. Or did they invent it?
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what, but yeah, I don't know why I know that.
Land obsolescence once again.
that's a good one, man. I like that.
Worst.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much. I mean, this is a great conversation. It went all over the place, kind of. Talked about a lot of stuff I wasn't really expecting to talk about. So thanks a lot. You guys have a lot to offer this conversation.
great.
We had a blast. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you.
been great. Thanks, you guys.
Sweet. Can you tell us where to find you?
Yeah. Find us renderweekly.com, at renderweekly on Instagram. Together, our practice is called Sample Studio. So kind of the stewards of Render Weekly in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah. At Tyler Anderson, at R Kraus, Instagram.
Sweet.
We're all over the socials. So
Yeah. I think if you type in industrial design in Instagram, it might pop up pretty soon. Render Weekly.
that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we're Render Weekly Awards coming soon.
Early March.
Yeah, and it'll be a great event. Come watch and check in on the progress there.
Submit your work if you've got it.
We'll be there for sure.
Sounds great.
Hey, everyone. If you're a designer, builder, or maker, and you want to be part of this podcast, we'd love to hear from you. The email is in the video description below, so please introduce yourself and let's connect. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with all things Shop Talk. If you're ready to try Fusion 3 yourself, find the link in our description.